everybody, and welcome to the next Train Sim World 3 kind of overview information video thing. I'm going to do maybe a couple, maybe 3 videos on this, and today I'm basically just going to talk about the routes and some general FAQs that I definitely didn't just copy over from their FAQ website. But I'm going to try and summarise everything and give everything my own sort of impartial take. So I've given all of the 3 routes a score, and you can see them as we go through, and there will probably be chapters, so you can skip to things that you might be interested in or not interested in, just to help you out there. So let's start off with Southeastern High Speed. Dovetail says that Southeastern High Speed became a Train Sim World fan favourite, and its inclusion in Train Sim World 3 comes as an extended route featuring the section between Ebbsfleet and Ashford, where Britain's fastest domestic train service hits speeds of 140 miles per hour. Its total length is 143 kilometres from St Pancras and Dartford, which is new, to Faversham and Ashford, which is new. So there's a new branch going from Gravesend along the classic lines to Dartford, and a new section of the high-speed line to Ashford. The rolling stock include the Class 395, including the Trainbow and 10th anniversary, the Class 375 in dark blue, the Class 465 in the light blue stripe, the Class 66 EWS, and the MFA and JNA wagons. It's a bit of a shame that there is no Eurostar. I suspect that's for licensing, and that if they could get a license for that, that would have been a very obvious choice. So I put my DLC, possible DLCs down for this route as a Eurostar pack, but that is a bit unlikely. But the prospect of having a route that would fit really nicely and at least brings me some hope. Other than that, it's the exact same, except for the extension, it's the exact same route as before. But I'll talk on to some of the other minor differences later on. So I'll give you my score assessment. I've given it a 0 out of 10 for novelty, because we've already got third rail EMUs, we've already got overhead EMUs for this game, we've already got much higher speed, much more interesting high speed lines, we've got Electro Stars, we've got too many Electro Stars. There's nothing that really shines through, especially considering we've already had this route and every train that's run on it before in the previous game. So they better do a bloody good job of improving it. But for now, the novelty score I've given it is 0. For expansion, I've given it a 3 out of 5. I feel that the very small prospect of a Eurostar pack brings me some hope, as I said earlier. So that's why I've given it a 3 out of 5. The interest, I've given it a 3 out of 5 as well, because the operations are sort of interesting, and hopefully bringing it more into sort of a network kind of shape and adding a larger timetable and everything else will make it slightly more interesting, and nicer sounds, better lighting, blah 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 blah. Hopefully it'll be a bit interesting, but my original interest for the route when it first released for Train Sim World 2 was probably actually higher, so my interest, I'd say, has dropped since then. And the bonus features, I don't think there are any bonus features except for introducing route extensions rather, which I do think is a welcome addition to the franchise. So I've given that a 1 out of 5 for a total of 7 out of 25. So starting off not very well. We now move on to the Cajon Pass. Correct me below if it's, well, whatever it is, please tell me. Dovetail says that rail fans love Cajon Pass, where the challenging gradients and open landscape offers some of the best views in American railroading. Located between San Bernardino, I've made that mistake several times, which is basically LA, and Barstow, the pass sees freight trains over a mile long power through tough climbs and ease themselves down them. So for a total length of 136 kilometres, which will take quite a long time to traverse, from Barstow to San Bernardino. And we've got the ES44C4 and the SD40-2 as our rolling stock. and Amtrak as a potential DLC, but probably not because it's well, there's only one train there. But considering they're like decentralizing the DLCs, they could add diesel Amtrak train, and that could run on Sam Patch and this route, and what is it? I think possibly Sherman Hill has some Amtrak trains. I don't know, but I think they could probably add that. So for many different routes, and I think that's partly why they've done that. Partly to increase sales, and partly to add these so they get more value for money, even if they only run maybe 1 or 2 services on each line. So the scoring, I've given it a 4 out of 10 for novelty, because BNSF, it's the first BNSF route, it's the first proper orange. Although it is not too dissimilar from Sherman Hill, from what I can see. It's a couple of hours through a desert, going up a hill and then going back down again. Possibly a little bit faster than Sherman Hill, probably a little bit easier, and with one new train as well, the ES44C4, which is probably similar to the ES44DC and ES44AC. I can't remember which one it is in a Horseshoe Curve, but hopefully that's all right. So for the expansion, I've given it 2 out of 5 for Amtrak, even though really unlikely that'll happen as anytime soon, I reckon. They've got the license, but who knows. So 2 out of 5 for that. For interest, I've given it 4 out of 5 because I've got a bit of a resurgence personally of American freight. And also, we've got West Coast, we've got California for the second time, actually. Californian freight, proper freight, and this is only the second route in the game where we've got really long, proper American freight trains, and hopefully they'll be slightly nicer simulated. They've got a bit of practice with Sherman Hill and a little bit more practice with Horseshoe Curve, even though that's not properly long freight, but yeah, hopefully it's going to be good. And the bonus, I've given it 2 out of 5 just for having some new rolling stock and from what I've seen, some really nice scenery, for a total of 12 out of 25. For Kassel to Wurzburg, which is the German high-speed route, dovetails say, between Kassel and Wurzburg, a section of Germany's first intercity express railway delves into tunnels carved through mountains and bursts into daylight and over impressive viaducts. High speed equals long distances in Train Sim World's longest route to date. So its length is 186 kilometers, and that's just over the one line, with only 3 stations from what I can see. And the rolling stock that you can drive will include the IC1, IC3, 185.2, which is a freight loco, and wagons for said freight loco. There's no other passenger, whether you get like 2 IC trains, one of which is a carryover and a carryover freight, so you're only actually getting 1 new train there. Whatever. And I'm not German, and who knows what the DLC will be for that. It seems like making it entirely high speed feels like you're cutting yourself off a bit. You're shooting yourself in the foot, restricting future expansions. But who knows? Possibly IC4. I don't know. That's not to say though that they do mention that the 146 and the Talent 2, I think it was, and the Dostos will be as AI services. So AI at the intermediate stations for the classic lines that you can't drive on. So you might be able to use them if you don't have. Obviously, I've got to have them layered in from other routes anyway. But if you're buying this game fresh, which I don't think many people will be, you will get some Dostos that potentially you could drive on other routes. I couldn't say, but yeah, who knows. So I've given it a novelty of 7 out of 10 because it's a really long route. We got really cool infrastructure there. Expansion 2 out of 5 because I don't know, possibly not. I really couldn't say. Interest 4 out of 5. I'm very interested in this route. Still wouldn't give it 5 though. Matt was saying stuff about how the trains have to run at different speeds, going over the bridges and everything else, which I think is pretty cool actually. And bonus 4 out of 5 for that reason, the differing speed limits and everything else. I should also add, talking about speed limits and safety in general, and I think this is mentioned further down. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's mentioned further down, so I'll leave it for then. In terms of general improvements to the whole game and any carried over routes from Train Sim World 2, you will get dynamic weather changes, so that the weather will change as you drive. There will be new visual effects of snow, lightning, volumetric clouds, and rain, so basically just more detailed and more true to life, more realistic effects for them. Weather will have a physical impact on your driving experience. I don't really know what that means. If that just means that you have to pay more attention, then that's been a feature for a long time now. And passengers will change their clothing attire to suit the weather conditions. This is something I addressed in the previous video. I think it's a bit unnecessary, but whatever. As long as that didn't have priority over actually making the routes work, I don't have a problem with it. Possibly the biggest thing is the training centre. It comes with sort of a fourth route-ish that has, like a test track, and you can learn about safety systems and the operation in an environment that is maybe a bit more friendly to beginners and people who don't know how the trains work and how to drive them. So yeah, some good things there. A new lighting system, which includes third rail sparks and flashes and Katina. We've seen them in videos from Dovetail. They look actually quite nice. I like what they've done with that. We've already seen the third rail sparking for the Isle of Wight 2022, obviously. Journey mode has been improved to give players a more meaningful experience. I never use journey mode, and I think quite a lot of people, once they figure out how to turn it off, will never go back. So, yeah, fuck that. And a new, more intuitive user interface. What I've seen, it looks a bit dumbed down. It looks a bit, made for stupid people, but apparently it was made using user advice. I never got a question about redesigning a UI, so I presume the sample space for that was very small, but whatever. If it's better, then any improvement's a good improvement, I guess, but... Move now on to the buyer's guide. So we have pre-launch options, so you can buy these now and you get some perks like 4 days early access, depending on your platform. It's going to be at least 96 hours, which basically means that you'll get the routes unlocked on the 2nd of the 9th or the 2nd of September rather than the 6th, which is a Friday British time. I can't say when during that day. For me, it's going to be more like Saturday morning. Saturday the 3rd for me. And you will get a decal pack for the livery designer. So included in the pre-launch options, the things that you can pre-buy, you get the deluxe pack, which includes all of the new routes, so Cajon Pass, Kassel to Wurzburg and Southeastern High Speed, plus the test track and Spirit of Steam, and you get that 10% off post-launch price, so for £45, I'm using pounds for this measurements, and you've also got the standard option, which is also available for pre-launch, but is not price reduced. That is the same price as post-launch, so the only advantage of pre-ordering that is the early access and the new perk, the decal perk, and that comes with all of the routes that are new to this game, so not including Spirit of Steam. Then for post-launch options, you can get the deluxe pack. It's the same but without the perks, and it's £5 more expensive, retailing at 50 quid. And you've got the standard option, which is the same price just without the perks, for still £40. Then you have your UK, US, German, and Spirit of Steam packs. So they come with the test track, the core features, and the route that they correspond to. So for UK, Southeastern High Speed, etc. So if I was to buy the UK pack, I would get the test track and Southeastern High Speed, and that's it. And I would get the new game, and I get all my my old routes carried over. but I wouldn't get Cajon Pass, and I wouldn't get Kassel Wurzburg, and if I didn't have Spirit of Steam before, I wouldn't get that either. Spirit of Steam will probably still retail for Train Sim World 2, and then you can carry that over. I don't quite know how that's going to work, but all of the single route packs plus the test track retail for £30, and you cannot pre-order them. They are only post-launch, so you can only get them after the 6th of September. And Dovetail have also mentioned that in future, after launch, they haven't said how long after, they plan to release a boxed game, so on disc or something, it's a key or whatever. So the big question, the elephant in the room, what is new and improved in Southeastern High Speed, St Pancras to Ashford and Faversham? So extended route from Ashford International from Ebbsfleet and from Gravesend to Dartford. New lighting and dynamic effects like the rest of the new game. The new route covers 143 kilometres in total, as mentioned earlier. Ebbsfleet station can be fully explored by taking the walkway across the platforms. Catenary and overhead lines have been overhauled to represent the model more accurately, and I hope that the general scenery has been improved as well, because that can be a bit dodgy in places. Fences. They've got enhanced signalling and safety systems, so they've basically just put TPWS out. It looks like they used Island Line 2022 for a sort of testing ground for TPWS, and they're going to try and roll that out to other routes. And this is going to be the first British route it would appear to have TPWS on the classic lines only. And 5 new scenarios, bringing the total to 21. And also the Class 465 is included with the pack, so you don't need to buy that as a separate DLC, and it has a new timetable as well. What platforms will Train Sim World 3 be on? It will be available on Steam, on PS4 and PS5. It will be available on Epic, although if you're going to guide on PC, I recommend Steam, not Epic. Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and it will be on Xbox Game Pass and the Microsoft Store for PC. In terms of carryover, all routes will carry over from launch, unlike Train Sim World 2, where it took a long time for all of your previous routes to carry over. And they're going to be carried over in a similar way to Preserved Collection. They're calling it Train Sim World compatible or whatever. It's the same thing. And they're investigating the possibility of carrying over DGG Live player data, so like points, logs, unsaved livery or unuploaded liveries and scenarios, and possibly achievements. They're investigating that, and they're investigating how Train Sim World 2 data can carry into Train Sim World 3 achievements, because they're obviously going to be slightly different probably. But they haven't actually finalised any of that. All of that is subject to change. So yeah, that's basically all that I've got. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. If you would like to learn more, make sure you leave a comment. If you have any questions, ask in the comments. I'm not a Dovetail authorised body, I'll say. All of this is my own personal take on things. These are my personal opinions that I'm expressing. If you have any concerns, then let me know. If you have any insights into the company, yeah, let me know as well, because I'd be really interested to know about that. I've addressed my personal opinion about the game and my actual criticisms of it more in the previous episode, but I plan to do a whole video basically just on my criticisms for this game. So if you'd like to see them, make sure you leave a comment. And my support, the support from the previous video was quite overwhelming. So yeah, thanks for that, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.